Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Sam Roberts Wrestling Podcast.
This is big for Sam. This is huge.
This is about the
audience.
audience.
It's big for both of us, obviously. But
this is big for the people.
I'm letting you have your selfish moment.
Okay, I'm not a selfish person. I'm a professional broadcaster, and this is big for everybody out there because Sasha Banks is here on Sam Roberts Show.
I need an applause. I'm here. Thank you, thank you. It's a long time coming.
Sasha, what's the haps?
What's the haps?
That's right.
What is that?
It's like, what's the haps? No, like, what's the haps?
Like, what's the crack? I
yeah.
learned that from Becky. It's an Irish thing.
I'm not Irish. What's the crack? All right, so what's the crack
Well, I just learned something new.
Yeah.
I like to learn new sayings. So yeah.
What's the haps? What's the crack?
The haps. I'm here in Philly, doing it at the amazing Tower Theater, and last night was the most amazing experience of my life.
Yeah.
I got to main event.
Well, this is crazy what's going on in NXT right now.
Yeah.
Crazy.
You're the women's champion.
Yes.
And forever, WWE has kind of had the reputation of having the divas on the main roster as kind of like a, maybe, I don't want to say a sideshow, but they put it on before the main event to cool everybody down. They give them 5 minutes here. It's kind of like, oh, let's do a broad panties match. Let's do a pudding match. Let's do a whatever. And you and Charlotte, Ric Flair's daughter, main event the show. And from what I heard, not one person left. Everybody was like on fire the whole time.
Oh God, I don't even, like, my heart's still like beating. I could not sleep last night because I was on such a high. But yesterday, to have someone tell you that you're the main event, I was like, you have to be kidding. No, here in Philadelphia, like, are you kidding me?
Right.
You trust me.
Did you get scared at all? Because Philadelphia is not a kind wrestling audience.
I'm not gonna lie, I cried.
You did.
I cried before. I was so scared, so nervous, because you hear the reputation of Philadelphia.
Yeah, ask Roman Reigns if Philadelphia is nice.
Yeah, Rumble wasn't pretty.
This is an ECW crowd. Like, I thought when I was coming out that they were gonna boo. Who knew what they were gonna chant at me? I came out to the loudest reaction I've ever heard in my life, and it was just unbelievable. And it's just such a good feel. It's the most amazing feeling in the world. Like, to truly be here and for Triple H to come out and introduce me and Charlotte, you can't get any bigger than that. Like, that.
And then you find out you're doing Sam Roberts show right after that. It's like, how does anybody even cope?
How can I top that?
I don't think
How
you
can I
can.
top that?
I've had to listen to Sam, even when there's no reference to you, Sasha. He'll bring you up. There's no reason.
Sasha Banks is my favorite wrestler.
Your favorite
It kind
wrestler.
of happens a lot.
I would think so.
It's kind of a big deal.
I want to get back to this point, though,
Like, it's not a
because
surprise to you, is it?
It's not a surprise.
No.
It happens a lot.
Yeah.
Sam's a huge fan. Let's talk about redefining this role of a diva, though, because as a female fan for my entire life, to Sam's point, I mean, this is a whole new era. And to be in that show in San Jose before WrestleMania.
You were there?
We were there.
amazing.
It was to see badass girls. I mean, the moves are sick. The training is sick.
Thank you.
It's redefining a diva, in my opinion.
We truly are. The girls that we have down at NXT are the most amazing, inspiring girls that I've ever been in the ring with. Like, from Bayley to Charlotte to Becky to Carmella to these two new amazing Australian girls that we have, Jessie and Cass, is just, we are growing and we are taking over. And just to see the passion and the drive of women that we want to change the definition of what it is to be a diva. Because growing up, I was not a fan of divas, but I always knew that I wanted to be in the WWE.
Well, when you're like a girl and you're like a badass, you're like, really, this is what's going on right now?
You just have to cheer for Luna Vachon.
Exactly.
I like Luna Vachon. Luna Vachon
I love Jazz. I love Molly Holly. I like Victoria, but to see them in bra and panties matches, and you kind of like just
Lita.
watch. You sit back, and my mom came in the room and was like, "What is this?
Yeah, this is what you're aspiring
to.
to.
Want to be?" And I'm like, "Well, actually, I want to be like Eddie Guerrero, but the female version of him." But just to be here, like 10 years later of my dream, like, I'm here as the NXT Women's Champion. I got to main event last night, and the girls just keep taking over. Like, any opportunity that we've been given, we just take it and we run with it and we kill it. And last night was a huge defiant moment in my career.
Is it terrifying for the women that are on the main roster in WWE who have not, because they don't know how to do these? They haven't had these matches. They haven't had
She ain't gonna touch that.
25 minutes to kind of go out there and main event, and that's not what they do. But now you've got a whole new crop of chicks that are coming in.
But not yet. Just wait till I get to the main roster.
Oh, boy.
Just wait. And then we will be main eventing that too. It's just, we're slowly taking over, and you can see that on the main roster right now, where the girls like the Bellas, they're having 2 segments with Paige, and like it's a small step, but it's a step in the right direction. And they're giving that time, and they're killing it up there too. It's just we all just have to do it as like a union, like a women's union, just taking over, and it's gonna get bigger and better. And the opportunity when I do get to come to the main roster, a lot of changes are coming.
You've obviously been wrestling for quite a while. And
5 years now.
did you ever think that you would be training in NXT now at such a high level? And do you think that WWE was ever going to be acceptable to your style of wrestling, and you be such in the position that you are? That's a risk move
It
at that
is.
time, especially to flip over.
Because when I came in, like, we didn't get to train how we train now. Like, it was still very.
Do you train under Sarah Del Rey?
I do. I have a lot of different coaches. I got to train with Joey Mercury and Norman Smiley, and I've learned so much from them and Sarah Del Rey. Like, we get to switch coaches a lot, so I've learned so much, and that's like huge with the WWE. Like, we have the most amazing coaches in the whole world. Like, I had a month of training with Billy Gunn. Like, I'm in the ring,
Mr. Ass.
with Mr. It was so cool.
It's the only shirt my mom wouldn't let me wear to high school.
I would just go suck it, and I'm like, no way, this is my life. It was just.
And that's the suck it guy. That's the guy.
That's the guy.
Yeah.
That's the man. Like, and like the funny thing, I don't want to. He did not like women's wrestling. He trained the girls, and he was like, "Man, I'm a fan." And that's like one of the biggest honors in the world, where a guy before would be like, "I'm not gonna watch the divas. I don't want to watch the chicks." And now people are in the front of a monitor watching us, and coming back through the curtain last night, all of the boys stood up and clapped for me and Charlotte, and I just broke down in tears. I just couldn't believe it. I'm so honored to such a family here.
And traditionally, guys wouldn't want to do that.
Exactly.
Like to have, like, nobody wants their spot taken by anyone, but specifically women.
But here, NXT is a family. Like, we all support each other. We all want to help each other. And last night was just,
I think it speaks
amazing.
volumes too. It's one thing to have either the camaraderie in the locker room seems amazing on the NXT side.
It really is.
But to have fans embracing female wrestling at the level they are, this is wrestling. I mean, chanting at San Jose, that is power right there.
As opposed
That's
to
a
the
hard
chants
group
that
to get
usually
over.
come from Philly when women are in the ring.
Well, we changed that.
Some of that change you were talking about.
Change. I got that This Is Awesome last night, and I cannot wait for tonight. Oh, that atmosphere last night. I can't wait to do it again tonight, and, who knows who I'm going to wrestle tonight, though.
So when you're developing your character, because you're known as the boss,
Yes.
which is like
Here's my shirt.
right.
WWE shop. You can
Ooh,
get
is
yours.
that a new one?
This is the female version.
Nice.
Gotta get one. It's very cute.
You know why she's a good business person? Because she didn't say I'll get you one. She goes, you got to get one, which means you can buy it.
They sell
I
at
will
the
do
show
it.
tonight. Don't forget the glasses too.
When you're putting this character together, it's kind of a very modern, contemporary right now. It feels relevant, which is not something that happens a lot in wrestling. Is that tough to try to sell people on the fact that why would you call yourself the boss? Like, I don't think a lot of people listen to hip hop and understand that that's something that like Rick Ross and people like that have been saying for years.
Well, like, for me, when I came in, I was just generic baby face, happy to be here, living my dream, just girl.
Mm-hmm.
And I had no character. And it was so frustrating for me. And I finally just sat down and I thought, you're related to someone famous, Snoop Dogg, who calls himself a boss.
Yeah.
Like, all of his security, all his people always call him a boss. And I'm like, hey, that's fitting. That's easy material right there. I just call him up, get a couple liners, good to go.
Wow.
And it kind of just came from there. And I just kept going. And at that time, everything on TV, and you walk through stores and every shirt was a boss shirt. And I was like, this is gonna work. And I kept working on it. And here I am, the boss, the NXT Women's Champion, living my life, living my dream. Just, it's been truly amazing.
So Snoop Dogg is your legit cousin, correct?
Legit.
Does it bother you that he calls everybody nephew? Because you're like, no, stop calling everybody nephew. We're actually family, and you're giving everybody this like credit.
No, it doesn't bother me.
It doesn't.
Everyone's family to him, which is nice. Spread the love. Why not?
I guess, but you're actually like it should be an elite crew.
Well, he calls me little boss.
That's pretty good.
And I'm
That's
not
good.
I'm not a nephew.
What was it like having Snoop Dogg as your cousin growing up?
Oh, I wasn't around him a lot. I got to go to his concert a lot, and anytime he was at a wrestling show, I begged him. I'm like, you have to take me with you. I cried. I was like on my hands and knees. So I got to go to WrestleMania 24. Amazing. I got to go to the next WrestleMania after that he was on. I got to go to Raw, and I thought at the age I was 16, and I'm like, I'm going to get signed now at 16 because I'm with Snoop Dogg backstage. So shy, I couldn't even like shake anybody's hand. I had to ask Snoop to ask the wrestlers to take a picture with me. I was so nervous, but just like in the back, like, can I get a picture with Randy Orton? Oh God, look, it's John Cena. Can you ask him for a picture with me? And now I'm here working with them.
It's the same guys. That's the weird.
Same guys, and I'm still nervous when I see them.
It's also like, I don't know if you realize that like probably people on the roster that you were nervous to meet were like, oh my God, Snoop Dogg's here. That's Snoop Doggy Dogg.
Yeah.
Right over there. And you're like, can you ask him to take a picture with me?
They did. They came to me when we were in LA when he was last here, and they're like, can you ask Snoop if I can have a picture with him? I'm like, I feel so cool. Yeah, come on. Come into his room. Come on.
Does he hang out with you a lot more now that you're like a, legit boss, as they say?
Well, I've been training at the Performance Center every single day at these shows every single weekend, so I barely get to see him, but he does text me a lot, and like he's such a huge wrestling fan, and I've been telling him since I was 10 that I wanted to be a wrestler, and he is so proud of me that I'm doing and I'm living my dream.
Yeah.
And I never asked for help from him. I did it all on my own, and I feel so accomplished with the fact because I have a lot of family who always goes to Snoop and like, hey, can you help me with this? Can you do that? I did it on my own, and just to see that and just to see how hard I've worked to get here, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talk about training at the Performance Center. How many hours a day are you putting in when you're not on the road for a show?
Well, from the time I wake up or from the time I get there?
Give me a whole day.
Well,
She started with like that sort of hair
like,
swipe.
Yeah. I'm such a morning person, so I always get up at like 5:30. I'm used to it. I used to work at a hotel where I had to work there from 4 to 2. So I'm such a morning person, but I start my day at 6:30. I get to the Performance Center at 8. I train in the ring from 8 to noon. Then we do weights for 2 hours. We have promo class for another hour.
It's very regimented.
I'm there watching my matches. It's a long day, but it's what I love. I love putting in the work. I love
Is that
doing
regimented
it.
by you, though, or by whoever you're training with at that time?
A little bit of both. I mean, we have a set schedule of when we need to train and promo class, but if I want to do the extra ring time, I'll go in there and I'll do the extra ring time. Because a lot of the new girls, they love to keep learning, and I love to help. I love to give back because
It's good.
we just want this place to keep growing and continue the success of women's wrestling. So.
And it's pretty trippy that now you're in, like you're talking about the positions that you're in now and you're working with these guys. You're actually in a position where you're teaching people that 5 years ago was like you.
I can't believe it. Like, just a month ago, I got to teach the girls' class, just me alone, because Sarah was on the road, and I was like, this is insane, but it left me on such a high because, when I am done with wrestling, that's an option.
Right.
To
You don't have to
be
leave the business.
a woman's trainer. Like, can you imagine, like, me teaching in the future? Like,
I can imagine it,
there's
Sasha.
numerous opportunities
Sam
here
can
in the
definitely
WWE,
imagine
and I want to be here forever. I love this company.
Don't let me hear you say that, though, because it's like, I want to be here forever if the money's right. That's what you say.
Screw the money.
What?
Screw it.
No.
No, you wouldn't say that. That's bad business.
I can say
Yeah.
it. I love this.
All right.
If I did, I worked on the indies for free because I love what I do.
Yeah.
This is, you can't buy happiness with money.
But you
and
can't buy her
I'm
shirt.
happy. You can't
Yeah.
buy your shirt.
And you could do that with money.
On WWE
exactly,
Shop.
But
And I'd like to
I
tell
love
Sirius
this.
XM that I love what I do too, as long as the check's cash. I'm in the same boat
money's
as.
always good, but this, you can't buy this.
Can we talk about some of these moves? Because sometimes I'm watching the matches and I'm like, oh my gosh. Is there anything that throws you off or you get a little nervous personally? Or even when you're training some of the new girls, you're like,
Oh my God, all the time. Sometimes I really, especially with my matches with Charlotte, I'm always like, did I really just do that? Especially with my match with her at TakeOver, where she speared me and I did a moonsault. And I remember that happened and I was like, did I really just do a moonsault? Like, how did that happen? Something just left my body and it just happened. But
Yeah, always what is that what you have to do? Like, you don't know how to do a backflip. You just have to get to a mental place where you do it.
I have no idea how to do a backflip. I did not think I was going to do a backflip. I just happened to land on my stomach and I was Just like, ow, what just happened?
Just a regular day on the job.
It's just a regular day on the job. Just kicking butt, taking names.
Pulled off a moonsault.
Yeah.
Exactly.
MBD.
I think I'm gonna jump in there and just see if I can get into that
You got
mind
it.
frame. Yeah, I think I can
don't
do
know
it.
how I do it.
Did you have to explain to people behind the scenes what ratchet meant?
Funny story is, I remember first hearing that chant when I wrestled Emma.
The chant is, of course, Sasha is ratchet, and then the
But
people
do
who
I-
like her say, no,
do
she's
I
not.
look ratchet?
No.
Exactly, I'm not.
No.
I don't think you are
I'm
either.
not ratchet.
We've actually had this debate for probably a half an hour at San Jose.
Yeah, because Katie was like, what's ratchet? And I explained to her, and she was like, oh, so she's I said, no, she's not.
Yeah.
And then I explained why.
Good.
Right.
Yes, you probably started that chant on that night.
I started to no, she's not. Yeah.
Yep.
But I was in the ring with Emma, and I heard that, and I kept looking at her. I was like, no way. Are they saying rat shit to me? I'm like, what are they saying? And I remember going to the back, and they're like, oh, they chanted ratchet. It's like, ratchet? No way.
Yeah.
To me? Are you kidding me? Psst, please.
So you
And just-
you were more you could believe rat shit before you could believe ratchet because you were like,
For
that
those
is
who
not.
crowd, absolutely. But I couldn't believe that. And then just every single week they kept chanting it and chanting it, and then they even chanted OBT, and I had to ask what that meant, which is Orange Blossom Trail, is where all the hookers are at in Orlando.
I'm learning so
and I
much.
was like, this crowd, you gotta be kidding me. So it's half and half now. There's a lot more no she's not, which I agree. Thank you very much. But yeah, it's definitely a weird chant, huh?
Yeah, were there people behind the scenes that were like, what does
A lot of
ratchet
people,
mean?
but I didn't even know what it meant.
You didn't?
I had to look it up in the Urban Dictionary. So there you go.
You're like, oh, they like me. They don't like
I'm like,
me.
they're chanting for me. Yay.
Urban Dictionary.
Oh.
That's amazing.
Shoot.
Yeah, that probably could have been covered with one text to Snoop.
Yeah.
Snoop, they're calling me ratchet. He's like, well.
What does that mean?
So do you have? Are you eager to be called up to the main roster? Are you eager to start wrestling on Raw and SmackDown, or do you kind of like being the big fish in NXT right now?
So hard. Because it's always been my dream to be on Raw and SmackDown.
But this didn't exist
Right.
when you had that dream.
Exactly. Who knew how big NXT was gonna be? Like, we're here in Philadelphia. We're going to Albany tomorrow. Like, we've been to San Jose, Cleveland, and sold out. And you cannot. I've done main roster loops, but you cannot compare the feeling to this crowd, because every single person who came here tonight or yesterday are NXT fans. Like, going on the main roster, you just see people in John Cena shirts and people who barely knew who I am. But here, every single person's in an NXT shirt, knowing who every single superstar who stands in that ring, and it's an amazing feeling. But I love this. I absolutely love NXT, but I'm almost feeling that I'm ready for that next step and that new challenge of working with different girls. And we changed the women's division here in NXT, and I can't wait to see what we do on the main roster when we get that opportunity. I want it to just keep growing and keep getting bigger and better. But yeah, I love NXT. Is amazing. It's a home.
Yeah.
Ugh. Wow, it gives me butterflies.
I love how you continue and like watching your interviews and who you really are. You've maintained this sense of humble. You're still such a fan
I'm
and
such a
still
fan.
like such a
I thought you meant her
sweet-
interviews on TV. I was like, what sense of humble
No,
are you
dude.
watching?
Well,
Do I need to be?
I don't think
Sure.
so.
don't you mess with that?
But like,
Moonsault
just
your
to
ass.
see like Joey Styles came in yesterday, and I marked out for him. I'm like, oh my god! And I got to say it to him, and I ran away because I was so nervous. But I'm still an excited little kid inside.
Yeah, it's
like,
good.
Mick Foley was here yesterday. Who knows?
Yeah, I
who's
saw you
gonna be here
tweeting like
tonight.
crazy when he was doing the comedy special. What is it like for you? Like, have you gotten to the point, at any point in your career, where you go like, oh, I got to try to be a little cool. I got to make sure the guys know that I'm kind of a big deal and that I'm not
But
just...
she does turn it on exactly the right time, so she lets you know she's still humble and she keeps it real.
Sometimes I'm still Mark in my
You are.
heart. Every wrestler I see, I mark out. But it's crazy to know that.
But now you have the confidence to actually ask them for a picture
Exactly.
instead of Snoop
No,
asking
but
them.
people come up to me. They ask me for pictures. Mick Foley came up to me and asked me for a picture,
awesome.
and I was like, "This is so cool." But I was just like, I have to be a badass and confident. Like, oh, you want a picture with me? Shoot, come on.
Yeah.
Smile.
Yeah.
But just to be in the limelight and a superstar like where I was when I was a kid, fans see me as how I saw the wrestlers. So
One
That's
time,
crazy.
one time, Mick Foley fed me steak like a baby, and I've been working for
you
the last
serious?
7 years to convince him that I'm a human being, and that was just a moment in my life. Yeah, that's true.
That's so random,
That's
Sam.
true. That
It's
happened.
very random, but I love Mick Foley to death. He's such a huge supporter of women's wrestling and the NXT divas, and he's just sitting back there with him and him just telling me, like, I'm so proud of you. He traveled 4 hours to see me and Charlotte wrestle.
Jeez.
A legend traveled to see me wrestle. A guy I watched growing up. Like,
You were like, you didn't know we were gonna be in Philly in like a month. You could have just 2 hours.
it's such a humbling feeling that people are coming up to me and saying that, you know, we're changing women's wrestling and we're putting a stamp on it, and people want to come see us. It's the best feeling in the whole world.
Was there any point that you thought it wasn't gonna work out wrestling? Like, did you get to a point where you're like, I'm not learning, I'm not getting the break?
Yes and no, because again, when I first started, I was just happy to be a wrestler, but I had no character, and I was getting so frustrated that I knew in my heart that I was really good in the ring, and that's where the Sasha Banks come out. Like, I was very good, and I was getting frustrated that I wasn't getting used, and just finally I was just like, no, like, you are gonna see me, I'm gonna get this opportunity, and I'm going to run with it. And you saw that at NXT TakeOver.
Oh, I saw it.
And then you saw it at the 4-way, and when I got to get this, and it's been amazing. But I've wanted this since I was 10, and when I say I worked for it since I was 10, I worked for it. Like, I would do everything to learn about wrestling. I would remember, like, I would leave school early, I would leave sleepovers. I even missed my grandpa's funeral because I wanted to stay home and watch wrestling. Like, sometimes I
What show was it? Do you remember?
SmackDown.
All right, well, SmackDown's on. I get that.
I wouldn't go to Thanksgiving at my grandma's house because I wanted to stay home and watch Like,
Yeah.
all these little things, I've always wanted it, and I knew in my heart that I could never give up.
What did you want to do
Never.
before you were 10?
Before I was 10, I was such a girly girl. God, I wanted to be in pageants, and then I moved to Iowa, and I lived with my auntie, and her son was just, he killed animals, and he did derby racing and kind of taught me how to be like a tomboy, and I started like just playing with him, and he taught me so much, and then I wanted to be a firefighter and all that stuff, but once I started watching wrestling, everything just kind of left my mind, and my
After
heart.
you skipped the funeral, things were very clear.
It was
Yeah.
very clear.
The path
I
was
think about
just-
that. I'm like, oh, I feel so bad, but I couldn't
Like
miss
this-
it.
that story-
I could not miss wrestling.
No, I get that. The story's only okay if you end up here. If you don't end up here,
Yeah.
you're just
Exactly.
You're
Oh.
messed up.
yeah,
Sorry, Grandpa.
kind of an ass. But you ended
you
up
can
here.
use this as a forum.
I'm
She
here.
apologized.
Right.
This is your microphone.
Do you hunt? You said you killed animals.
I did hunt, but not anymore. I feel bad.
Did you feel bad while you were hunting?
No, I thought it was really cool.
What did you hunt?
Deer and
Yeah.
pheasants.
Well, I'm going to tell you something. Deer are terrible. All they do is run in front of cars.
I know.
And they kill
I hit one
people.
before. One ran out in front of my car.
Did it ruin your car?
What is wrong
ruined-
with you, Sam?
Deer are the worst animal.
You're an
Ruined
idiot.
my car, and I hate that.
And I hate deer,
I
so
hate
I
it.
really don't.
But I love animals.
I love animals too, but not when they jump in front of people's cars and kill them, and they're totally unnecessary.
I don't think he knew. He was trying to avoid it, but just kind of.
Running in a road. I've never been hit by a car. You know why? I don't
'Cause you
run
don't
across
talk.
highways.
Sam, next question.
How much time do you have? I can't even interject
can't.
on this one.
I can't with him.
Deers and bees, pet peeves.
I hate bees.
Yeah, they
There we go.
suck.
That sucks. I don't. Who wants to get stung by a bee? Screw them.
And yeah, they're terrible. Bees are terrible. They should be exterminated. So are deer. But you know, we're here to talk about NXT.
Exactly.
Katie, stop getting us off track.
Katie.
Katie.
I'm trying to keep it together here.
I don't know what you do on the
You're-
Today
you're
Show.
finally having your
but
moment.
This is, yeah,
Hello.
We're connecting on the
I think he's
bees
a little
thing.
excited.
Yeah.
And they spread Lyme disease.
Next question, Sam.
you're right. Katie, what do you got?
I actually,
NXT.
I'm actually really curious. I know it's kind of like a foundation question, but who were you always looking up to since you were little? And that you're probably having those moments now where you said, like,
Yeah.
you know, Mick's coming to you and asking for a photo or coming to see you wrestle. Give me your top three.
Ooh, number one, Eddie Guerrero. Every Sasha Banks fan should know that's my number one.
Do you have a frog splash?
So funny. I try to do a frog splash back when I was training in the Indies, and they put out a pad so I can land safely. I managed to hop over the pad,
Oh.
and I landed straight on my face, bust my lip, bust my nose, and Now I'm terrified to do it. I'll maybe pull it out one day, hopefully WrestleMania. But
Through a car. That would
yeah,
be like Guerrero style.
I'm really scared right now.
Yeah.
I still have
Wow.
that in my mind. I jumped over the pad. So he's my number one.
Awesome. That's great.
It's hard to go in order, but number 2, number 3, I have so many. I love Kurt Angle. I love Dean Malenko. I love
you love
Rey Mysterio.
suplexes.
I love technical. I love luchas. I love wrestling.
Well, that's clear. Sasha, I believe in you.
Thank you.
I think you can do a frog splash if you
So
put your
yeah.
mind to it. You accidentally did a moonsault.
I did.
So
And
I
I
feel
didn't put my mind to it though.
Right, you didn't. So one of
maybe I
these
should
days,
put my mind to it.
don't put your
Okay.
mind to it. Just do
That's
it.
how Sam lives his life.
Right. Well, because I'm stupid. I don't have any thoughts running through my head
Right.
at all.
Right.
But it makes everything easier. It really does.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, congratulations on everything, Sasha
Fired up
Banks.
to continue watching the NXT tour, and then also we're looking forward to seeing you main roster, hopefully sometime soon.
Yes.
Yeah. Philly tonight, Albany tomorrow.
Absolutely. I cannot wait.
The specials on
Wednesday.
Wednesday on the network.
Me versus Becky Lynch, about to steal the show
It's
again.
big.
What's up with Corey Graves constantly taking shots at Becky Lynch on commentary?
As long as he puts me over, I'm okay.
He does too.
Well played.
Sasha Banks, thank you so much for being
Thank
here.
you so much. Thank you so much for having me, and keep watching NXT every Wednesdays on the WWE Network.